Hey, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be building a mudroom bench. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. The first thing I'm going to do is put on edge banding to the plywood pieces. I had already had Home Depot cut these pieces of plywood into the dimensions I needed. And all I did to do this was get a piece of hardwood, cut it to the right size, and then glue and then nail onto the front of the plywood. And then just go ahead and put some clamps on there. And then the next part is I just got a flush trim router bit and trimmed that edge up real nice so that it was flush with the plywood. This gives it a look like it's one piece of wood. So I just went ahead and routered both sides to give it that nice flush look. You could sand this off, but using a flush trim router will save you some time. And here I am just cutting out all of the pieces for the cubbies. What this is going to do is act like little spacers so that you have little boxes for the cubbies. And then what I'm doing here is using a dado blade to cut little slots. This is going to be for those pieces I just cut so that it forms those nice square cubbies. Just make sure you measure when you're doing this so that you're cutting those cubbies nice and square. And I'm doing this for the bottom, the middle, and then the top piece. The middle piece obviously will be cut on both sides so that you can slide those little pieces in to create those nice little square cubby holes. If you notice, I'm cutting each piece at the same time. So right now it's set at 2 feet. Before it was set at 1 foot. And then I cut it and then flip it over and then cut it and then flip it over. That way I have even 1 foot spacing between each of those boards, and then each board will match up perfectly when I go to glue this all together. So here's the glue up, here's the bottom piece. I'm just going to put some glue into each one of those dados that I cut, and then I'm going to put the spacer in there and nail it from the bottom. And then just do it again. I'm going to do this for each of those. And if you see, I also did a dado on the end there. Also, you could cut these dados with a router. I just chose to do it with my table saw. It's a little quicker. And then here I am doing the same thing, putting some glue down, and then putting on that middle piece. And then clamping it down, and then just using my nailer and nailing it in. If you notice the board that's on top right now, that's going to be the middle of this mudroom bench. It's a little shorter, and that's to allow for an end piece to go on the edge of this. And then here is the top portion. I'm going to do the exact same thing, putting in those spacers first and then nailing them in. And then after this, I'm going to attach that to the other piece. And then I'm going to just clamp it all together. Just for your information, the way that I did this was to fit specific size baskets. So that's something you're going to want to take into consideration if you want specific baskets, and then measure the cubbies to be that size. And then here I am doing the same thing, except for on this one I'm just putting glue down and then putting the top piece on the bottom piece and then clamping it together. And then you just want to make sure that everything lines up nice and straight. And anything that protrudes, you kind of want to beat back. Of course, you can always come back and sand for anything that's a little out of line. And then, like I said, I needed to cut some end pieces, so here's me cutting that end piece. And then I'm going to go ahead and install it with glue and brad nails, just like the other ones. I didn't get this on video, but you are going to want to sand this down before staining. And after you get all the pieces installed, for the main portion of the mudroom bench, you're just going to clean it up with a tack cloth to prepare for staining. And then just go ahead and stain it. I'm just using a rag and some stain, and then going through and evenly spreading it around. And I actually did multiple coats of this just to get it a nice darker color. I didn't like the way it looked the first time. I actually made a mistake here, so heads up, this is a reminder for when you do stain, you're going to want to make sure you stir the can. I forgot to stir the can, that's why this is coming out super light, and all it's going to do is make you have to do it twice, and that's exactly what I had to do. After this, I noticed that I just didn't like it, so I was trying to figure out what was wrong, and I'm like, oh duh, I forgot to stir the can. So after I stirred the can, it turned out a lot darker, and that's the color I was looking for. So just remember, always, if you make a mistake, go back to the basics, figure out what you did wrong, and you'll figure it out. And voila, there's the finished product. Unfortunately, I did not get the side pieces on video, or the top piece, or the back piece on video. So the side pieces were done exactly the same way. It just was plywood with an edge banding and then sanded and stained. The back piece is beadboard, which we painted blue. And there you go. I installed it right in that little area they had. And there's a couple different angles for you. Yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. I just put a couple of coats of polyurethane on there to finish it off. And looks pretty dang good. Fit in the space nicely. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful in any way, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment below. And yeah, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.